I can't believe it's my allotment. It's never looked this good in early May. I keep thinking there's been some sort of mistake and I'm on somebody else's allotment, or I've got an elf coming in late at night after I've gone to bed and tidying the place up. The latest news is I've planted some runner beans out, and which is risky early May. Summer hasn't officially started. Well, down south you could argue it has, but it's all risk of frost isn't entirely gone. Though again, in this area, it'll be a proper frost is probably not coming. But what you have is cold, drying winds, not frosts. And they're the thing. That's the weather that, when you put your runner beans out, just frazzles them to a crisp when you have to re-sow. So what I've done is this Heath Robinson contraption of debris netting, builder's debris netting. You could use fleece, clothes pegs, and wooden stakes. What that does is slow the cold winds, halt them entirely. Makes it a cosy environment for your runner beans. But it's not going to stop a hard frost descending. It doesn't have a roof, and frying them to a crisp. But that's not likely to happen. It is the cold winds that are going to be interfering with your runner beans. But it is a lottery. I put some effort into what I've done is make sure their roots are mostly filling their soil blocks in their pots, and then put the whole lot without disturbing as much as I can without disturbing the roots, and put them in well watered, good ground with plenty of bloodfish and bone, well dug and well raked, and with the protection of the debris netting. All those things together, I have a fighting chance of them taking off, but we shall see. I've got a whole load more seeds coming on in the greenhouse, French beans, things like that. What are your favourite YouTube gardening channels? Obviously Charles Dowding, he's a organic gardening god essentially. He produces a lot of videos of the highest quality and vegetables of the highest quality. Just a real pity I don't agree with him with his central thesis, but never mind. But spring comes along, and the moment he starts sowing seeds in February, as soon as he says I'm off, so am I. I follow his advice. Absolute mastery. But I think that for me the golden age of YouTube gardening was Sean's Allotment gardening, Sean Cameron, and the ones I'm thinking about are sort of 10 years old, but they were ordinary bloke on an ordinary allotment telling you how he's getting on. And I think for gardening vlogging, I think they were exemplary. I think it was social commentary in the sense that he wasn't doing social commentary, he was just showing you a ordinary bloke in an allotment and how he gets on. And he was original filmmaker. I know he's in the business, was in the business. And you can tell from the way he edited and set up his shots and so on. But so even though they're 10 years old, they're really fresh. It was interesting. He had a health crisis, and you could see. He talked about it in his videos, and you can see the effect it had on him. And I went through something. I'm sure not as bad as him, but I went through something similar. I just lost my fitness. Just suddenly was unable to do anything productive at all for myself or anybody else, and which is why I was doing lots of walking videos, trying to build up my strength, my fitness, and thankfully it's come back. I mean, I've dug all of this was dug this winter, and dug, redug, weeded, raked, the whole work. So it takes a certain amount of effort. So I seem to have done something, touch wood, to rectify things. It could have carried on. I was turning into a blob. Now it might still be a blob, but I'm a fitter blob than I was before. But yeah, I still Sean's early videos are still an inspiration for me. It's the whole friendship with the other plot holders and so on. Just brilliant stuff. Really good. What are your favourite gardening videos? Oh, Jeff's allotment up north. Again, February, the moment he starts sowing his seeds is when I start. Even though much colder up north, but he's a big influence. He's 100-foot polytunnels, and it's all good stuff. Yeah, leave in the comments below what are your favourite gardening channels. These plants were put in late winter, so they're overwintered in the greenhouse. Cauliflower plants. I think they were sown in August. Kept in all through the winter. Then at the end of the winter, brought up here and planted in the soil and watered pretty regularly, especially now. Now we're properly into spring. Potatoes are looking like they're suffering. They're nice and green and large, but they are leaning over. It's suggesting to me that they might not have got enough water. And I'm glad they're an early variety, because it means I can crop them quickly, and while I'm doing it, get the mare's tail and the bindweed out. So I've spare plants up here. For some reason I've got quite a few yellow chard. Now I haven't got any special seed or saved my seed. All I do is do bright lights, which is multiple colours, and then just pick the yellow ones out. I think it's a nice contrast. I've got other. I like my gardens to be colourful, even though they're mostly food. I think I don't know why that is. It's just the way I am, and if it's not colourful, coriander, nobody could ever say coriander was particularly colourful, but its texture is a different texture. It's finely cut and creates a nice profile. So in many ways it's sort of like a work of art. And you get things that crop up that you never planted, so that is definitely a tomato. Now there's some things you don't necessarily want. You see, I would, funnily enough, the Solanum species I'd be very cautious about, but this is definitely a tomato. There's no two ways about it. But the tomato is a Solanum, its Latin name, but there are some Solanums, which is one of the reasons why Europeans distrusted them, because they look like deadly nightshade. So there's some if you get some like self-saved chilies, self-sown chilies about the place, and you think that's wonderful. I mean, I found it in my own dad's greenhouse. He had carefully potted up nightshade, thinking it was a chili. It was obviously nightshade. I'm glad he would have noticed when it fruited. Why have I got tiny purple round chilies? He wouldn't have eaten it. But Thank God he wouldn't have done, because they are poisonous. But well, they are, you know, they are pretty. I'm going to see them out in the wild. But you go, so yeah, you get self-saved. This is just where I've, perhaps the tomato wasn't looking all that great on the vine. I let it fall to the ground, and the seed came out and gave me that. So I'm going to do something with that. It's definitely a tomato. I've got no fear of that. It's got that strong scent, and so gardening can cost you nothing. And this space is normally a really nice space. You know, in winter it's warm and it's freezing outside. But it's a bit oppressive today. The sun it's like a magnifying glass burning the back of my head.